Welcome to the second video in our Healthy Retail Intervention series. Once again, you can read through the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene's mission and vision statements here. Healthy retail directly aligns with our mission, since nutrition is integral to health, particularly in chronic disease prevention, since diets high in sodium, calories, saturated, and trans fats have been associated with conditions such as obesity, hypertension, and type 2 diabetes. By addressing worksite nutrition, the Prevention and Health Promotion Administration is improving health and well-being for employees across the state of Maryland. This video will explain in more detail interventions that focus on a retailer's product offerings. After watching this video, viewers will be able to identify strategies to improve retail offerings of healthier products to facilitate consumer behavior change, as well as understand how these strategies can be implemented with a policy. I'd like to begin by offering some basic definitions. First, when I refer to a product, I'm referring to any food or beverage item used to satisfy the consumer's want and/or need. Procurement, then, is the process of finding, buying, and acquiring these foods, which is often done through a competitive bidding process, in which multiple distributors compete for the retailer's business to carry their products. Product interventions are achieved by adjusting procurement contracts in order to ensure that the kinds of foods and beverages we want to be promoting are available. Throughout these videos, I'm going to be showing examples of various interventions that can be used to design healthier retail using a three-tiered approach designated by bronze, silver, and gold medals. The purpose of this system is to point out good interventions, better interventions, and the best interventions. While higher levels of interventions may require more resources, such as time or money, people working to increase access to healthy food can find interventions that best match the ability of the retailer to make changes. I can't stress enough how important it is to remain flexible when proposing interventions to business owners, since leadership buy-in is a key factor in the success of healthy retail efforts. I'll begin our discussion on interventions at the bronze level, for which I have two proposed strategies. The first of these interventions is to offer at least 25% of prepackaged snacks as reduced sodium, fat, sugar, or calorie options. Many prepackaged snacks found in grab-and-go locations are high-salt chips or high-fat cookies, for example. By offering an alternative, such as baked chips or 100-calorie snack packs, retailers can help facilitate better food choices among consumers who are looking to improve their health. The Health and Sustainability Guidelines for Federal Concessions and Vending Operations is a toolkit developed by CDC and GSA and contains specific guidelines for food selection, for example, what counts as low sodium. This toolkit will be utilized throughout these videos to serve as just one example of what a policy might look like to implement healthy retail, and can be helpful for individuals stocking shelves or vending machines to meet a requirement such as the one I just discussed. Another bronze-level strategy would be to offer low-fat, such as 1 or 2% dairy products, including milk, yogurt, and cheese. These items hold the same nutritional value as their whole alternatives, but with less fat and calories. Moving on to the silver level, here are three more proposed strategies to improve healthy product offerings. You'll notice that they look similar to our bronze strategies, but are more intensive. For example, instead of offering at least 25% of prepackaged snacks as healthy offerings, an additional step would be to change the threshold to 50%. On this slide, I show more examples as to what can count in this category: 90-calorie granola bars, unsalted nuts, and canned tuna, just to name a few. Similarly, rather than just offering low-fat dairy, food retailers can offer skim products, which contain no fat and are even lower in calories than their low-fat counterparts. Another strategy would be to offer canned or preserved produce, such as the canned vegetables on the left or the fruit cup on the right. These are shelf-stable foods, so they will last longer than fresh produce. However, retailers should be encouraged to procure canned vegetables that are low in sodium and fruit soaked in 100% fruit juice rather than syrup, which is high in sugar. Finally, at the gold level, I offer three possible product strategies. Again, I want to emphasize that the product interventions discussed here should by no means be considered comprehensive, but rather a starting point for opening a conversation with food retailers willing to alter their product mix. A step beyond offering healthier prepackaged snacks and dairy products would be to offer fresh fruits. Here, I specifically recommend bananas, apples, and oranges as easy options, since they do not require refrigeration, have medium to long shelf lives, and are familiar to most consumers. However, other fruits are fine to offer, provided the retailer has the proper storage capabilities and a consumer base interested in purchasing them. Similarly, offering fresh vegetables is another product strategy. Carrots, celery, and broccoli are all relatively long-lasting vegetables that come in packaged, pre-cut forms. This may also be a great opportunity for retailers to cross-promote by offering a healthy dip, such as hummus or a Greek yogurt-based dip strategically placed near the vegetables section. Lastly, a recurring theme that you will see throughout these videos is that to make any of these changes sustainable and enforceable, retailers should adopt a written policy. The last video in this series will be entirely focused on policy and will include more detail about how to draft a policy. However, next I will review product procurement policy guidelines and examples. These next two slides come from a review article titled Food and Beverage Environment and Procurement Policies for Healthier Work Environments, published in the journal Nutrition Reviews in 2014. In the article, the authors present questions to help address potential challenges in promoting a healthy workplace food environment. These questions are a great reference for starting a conversation about drafting a new policy aimed at food procurement. First, you'll want to consider if the procurement and purchasing policies are written with sufficient clarity to allow for proper implementation. This is important because you don't want any ambiguity in nutrition guidelines. This leads into the next point. Ask if staff members in charge of procurement are adequately trained to incorporate nutrition standards into purchasing. You'll want whoever is in charge of enforcing a procurement contract to be able to easily identify whether a vendor's product meets the standards outlined, especially if that individual does not have a formal background in nutrition. Next, ask if the types and product lines of the specified food and beverage items are readily and consistently accessible year-round from reliable suppliers. Many fruits and vegetables are seasonal, and adverse environmental conditions and changing climates can make it difficult for quick and predictable transactions to occur. Make sure your policies and contracts can address this. For example, forward contracting is a strategy commonly utilized in which a formal agreement is made for the vendor to sell an asset in the future at a fixed price determined in the present. This helps small local farmers by giving them time to plan ahead to meet the needs of the buyer. It helps store owners as well by helping them meet consumer demand for locally grown products. Fourth, and this one is pertinent to any food retailer that engages in food preparation, such as a cafeteria, is to find out if the food service staff are adequately trained and are the food service facilities adequately designed to prepare and serve the items. Are there additional equipment and/or storage needs, and will staff need to be trained on these new products? These are just a couple considerations if you're looking to diversify your menu items. Next, inquire if the items being offered will successfully meet employee/patron demands in terms of their taste, appearance, cost, and convenience. Along similar lines, before implementing a new procurement policy, consider if the volume of sales will be sufficient to sustain the workplace food service. It can be a bit of a risk to offer a new product, and one should never underestimate the importance of market research. Perhaps consider offering a trial period before doing a full rollout. If promoted properly, individuals will notice novelty. Consider collecting customer feedback in the form of a public poster board for individuals to write on, using comment cards or postcards, or just talking to people face to face. Finally, ask how product placement, marketing, promotion, and portion size goals will be incorporated. Again, other videos in the series will touch on the other elements of the marketing mix that can be leveraged to make healthy product procurement make an even stronger impact and remain profitable to business owners. In the final section of this video, I'm going to show some examples of procurement policies as they relate to sodium. The first couple I'm going to show are simple, straight-to-the-point policies that provide nutrition criteria. However, I'll also show some more complex policies. The main takeaway here is that one isn't necessarily better than the other. It's going to depend on the retailer you're working with. So here from the National Alliance for Nutrition and Activities Model Vending Guidelines, we see two distinct sodium guidelines. One for snack items, no more than 200 milligrams, and one for entree items, no more than 480 milligrams. Next, from the American Heart Association's procurement standards, we see a set sodium level of less than 150 milligrams for foods, side dishes, and single-item foods, and then a second guideline for entrees and meals. This guideline, from the Health and Sustainability Guidelines for Federal Concessions and Vending Operations, is more specific, in that it gives a blanket standard of less than 480 milligrams of sodium in individual food items unless they are categorized as a vending item, which must contain less than 230 milligrams. In addition, all meals must contain less than 900 milligrams of sodium. So we see there's now a regulation on combining items. Even if 3 items in the meal meet the individual item standard of under 480, if they add up to above 900, the meal is non-compliant. Lastly, this example comes from the Alliance for a Healthier Generation Standards for High School Food Service, which is much more complex than the previous policies. All products must contain less than 230 milligrams of sodium, with exceptions for foods that meet criteria such as low-fat and fat-free dairy products, or vegetables with sauces and soups, provided they meet another nutrition requirement. I want to reiterate that these policy examples reflect the variation that can occur, and any conversation on developing a product procurement policy should be individually tailored to the environment in which it will be implemented and the people responsible for enforcing it. In summary, there are many different ways to offer healthier products across a range of levels of buy-in from key stakeholders. Engage these stakeholders by emphasizing their role in shaping community health, and have dialogues with them about diversifying product offerings to see what ideas they can bring to the table to bring feasible and sustainable changes to fruition. Lastly, consider drafting a policy to make the biggest impact on procurement strategies to make retail areas healthier. Thank you for watching this presentation. In upcoming videos, I will discuss both subtle and overt ways to communicate these changes to the consumer. Watch the next video to learn about product placement, which is one of the more subtle ways to influence purchasing behavior. For more information, please direct questions to DHMH Healthiest Maryland at maryland.gov or call the HMB State Coordinator at 410-767-5079.